What a fantastic project. I'm gonna take the first question. Did you, and you may have already answered this, will you be letting other people use this software, or?
Yeah. Now, obviously, the software is a prototype. And so, actually, is user-friendly, but not so user-friendly in some steps. So, is used, for instance, by our PhD students. Our aim is, with this new project, also to have a more user-friendly software. So we can provide this software to, we can give it to other interested persons, yes, surely. Our aim is to spread our method and to help possibly people who are blind or visually impaired.
I just know that that's something that we would love to do in our museum, and I think your process looks fantastic. I'm probably not the only one who was thinking that. So we have a few minutes, so any questions for anyone? Don't go away. Questions? Inspired? Okay, good. We have a question from Neil.
So how do you think that the use of 3D printing will contribute to public makerspaces in museums? So we've got the concept of Gallery 1 in Cleveland, which is a digital interactive space in studio play, but bringing the makerspace into the public area of the museum with a more open interaction seems like the next step, including 3D printing and scanning and the other types of activities that you guys experiment with.
I'm going to give this one to Miriam because she runs makerspaces in several museums.
That was a question after my own heart, so thank you, Neil. 3D printing is one part of bringing maker spaces and the idea of making into museums and into public areas. And one of the ways to do that is by letting people see how the print works and how the printing process works. It is slow at this time, as Liz pointed out in her accelerated video. So, but it's okay for people to come in and see that it's a process and that it's slow. So what we'd really like to do is encourage close looking. When Liz and I wrote our paper last year, one of the things we really thought about was how the scanning process encourages close looking, and the printing process encourages thinking about how long it takes to make something. How long did it take to carve those lions? How long did it take to make an urn? How long did it take to make a relief? And so even though it's a digital process, the idea of rematerializing and recreating gives some sense of the time it takes to create an object. So one way that maker spaces do that is it puts some thought back into that process.
And I'll just add really quickly that we don't have a makerspace at the Art Institute, but we kind of do like pop-up maker activities. And I think that if we look at in education, and especially in the States and maybe here as well, we really focus on a lot of science and technology. So actually adding these kinds of digital kind of production methods, but also then talking about creativity, we can kind of blend the two back together in a way that our school systems maybe don't have the luxury of doing. So kind of using the museum as a place to make things creatively and to make sure that art stays in that curriculum. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I just want to add one more thing, which is about algorithms, which is 3D printers and scanning all works on a system of algorithms, and we try to surface that with open source software and open hardware, this idea that the algorithm is the key to putting things together, and you can see those algorithms in, for example, the Soloit and the Soloit grid, and so to create that yourself and see it printed makes I shouldn't make any assumptions about what it does for everyone, but can make a very profound connection for someone working with it.
Okay. Other questions? How will you use this in your museum? Anyone have some ideas now? I want to hear some ideas so that I can steal them. Okay, good. Oh, yeah.
Professor Furferi, just a question. How is it possible to apply your method to, for example, a medieval fresco, which does not respect the perspective rules. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Obviously, there are some cases also in perspective-based paintings where objects are not linked to any plane or to any, in the hierarchy we built. So in that case, is the user that has to choose the position in the space of the painting. If we don't have some geometrical information, the reconstruction, the first phase of reconstruction becomes totally user-driven. So it's an interpretation of the user. It's not it's not yet a geometry-based reconstruction. It's only, I don't know if sufficient. Okay.
More questions? Well, I think if there aren't more questions, I think we're probably close to out of time. Anyway, I want to encourage you to find a way to just try it out, because I think something like this, it's not something that I knew exactly how our museum could use it until we started playing around with it, and it's so easy to play around with. Play around with it with some friends on your staff, just spend a couple hours and see how it moves you or someone else in the staff, and you might come up with ideas that you never imagined. And I think that's what we all need in museums right now, is to kind of like be surprised by something, by our own assumptions. So pick up something and give it a try. More 3D coming up next, so thanks.